Minister.
Thank you, Chair. We are in this gloomy Cape Town, very gloomy, cold, wet, dark. Looks like we're in another country here, but we're all together, ready to roll come 11 o'clock, and we are happy to have the opportunity of starting with you. As you know, we get our bad news carrier here, General Skukuni. He will take us through on the matters, Chair. But as you have said, that the discussions are spared for tomorrow, and we're also able to engage as part of that and to share our vision, how we see things. We are hopeful, very hopeful that we will reach the turning point if we have not. But we are very sure that tomorrow we will be better than today. Maybe if he takes us through and know what we'll be telling the nation, and then we'll be having discussions. Thanks, Chair. Through you, then I can invite General Skukuni to take us through the figures. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, Minister. We wish you and your team well. We'll invite the General to do the presentation. Honorable members, you could take details in terms of the questions which you wish to have. Today is not the time for long questions, but please do keep and reserve your questions for tomorrow. I'll take a number of urgent questions which you wish to ask. You may start the presentation, General.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, and members of the Portfolio Committee, the Minister of Police, the Deputy Minister of Police, General Masemola, and colleagues in the platform. Can I confirm that my presentation is visible on the screen?
Chairperson?
Yes, we can hear you. You can continue. The presentation is there.
I'll be checking the Portfolio Committee.
There's a bit of a hollow. Your sound has a bit of a hollow. I think it's the venue you are in. Honorable members, do you also have a hollow, like an echo sound?
Yes, Chair, we can hear well.
Yes, breaking up.
Could we maybe just on your side, we are struggling to hear properly.
Can you hear him and myself better? We're in the same place. We're in the same place.
Minister, could they move to where you are sitting, please? Honorable Whip, you wanted to say something?
I wanted to say the same thing, Chair, that we can't hear. There's a lot of echo.
But can you hear the minister? I think that mic is better.
Yeah, the minister's mic is better.
Could they please move to the minister's mic?
Good morning. Is the echo still there?
I think it's your venue, but if you move close to the mic, I'm sure that with the presentation we can follow. Honorable members, could you try your best to hear now, because the minister was much more audible? Could we try again, please?
I'm as close as to the mic as I can be.
That is much better. We know that we always have challenges with connectivity. So please, if the members really are struggling, could you try now?
I'm as close to the mic as possible. Is the echo still there?
Honorable members, can we continue, or are you really struggling? Honorable,
let's continue, Chair.
Let us continue. We try our best because the presentation is before us. Members, if you really have difficulties, can you indicate that to me, please? Continue the presentation, please.
Thanks, Honorable Chair. As I've already indicated, I'll be taking you through the Q4 crime statistics that have been reported to the South African Police Service covering the period from January 2023 up to the 31st of March 2023. As is the norm, these are the table of contents. I will just simply go to the table that we normally start with, and that gives a brief overview of what has been reported to the SAPS in terms of the crime situation. Starting with the contact crimes, we have an increase in terms of the murders of 206. Then we had a decrease of sexual offenses of 594. We had an increase in terms of attempted murder of 475. Assault GBH increased by 98. Common assault increased by 3,480. Common robbery increased by 957, and robbery with aggravating circumstances increased by 1,677. The total of the contact crimes increased by 6,299. That is a 4.0% increase when compared to the similar period in the previous quarter. The breakdown of the sexual offenses that led to this decrease was realizing the reduction of rape by 306. That is a 2.8% reduction. Sexual assault decreased by 322. The only category of sexual offenses that has increased was attempted sexual offenses, an increase of 160. Then contact sexual offenses decreased by 82. We have already touched on the robbery with aggravating circumstances, going down into the breaking them down further, starting with the three crimes that are made up of carjacking, robbery at residential and non-residential premises. We have realized a reduction in terms of carjacking of 283, and robbery at residential premises increased by 311, and robbery at non-residential premises decreased by 251. Total of the trio crimes, that is the three crimes that are just talked to, decreased by 223, and of the three only robbery at residential premises increased by 311. Continuing further with the categories of crime that make up robbery with aggravating circumstances, we had an increase in terms of cash in robberies of 11 counts more compared to the previous period. Bank robberies decreased by 5, and truck hijacking decreased by 80 counts when compared to the similar period in the previous quarter. Then using the population estimates using the 2021 series as has been obtained from status A. These are instances whereby all the crimes that are against a person are measured against the total population in the country, so that we can be in a position to compare apples with apples when we look at the per capita. The murder per capita, when you look at the 2022 and the 2023, is around 10 per 100,000. That is the possibilities of a person being killed around 100,000 remains at 10. So even in the previous quarter was 10. Then the rapes, we have a 17.2 per 100,000. Attempted murder also was 10.1 per 100,000. Assault GBA 70.4 per 100,000. As common assault 80.4 per 100,000, and common robbery 19.2 per 100,000. Then continuing the table, going into the contact-related crimes made up of arson and malicious damage to property. The two crimes that make up this category have all decreased. Arson with 113, malicious damage to property with 472, and the total of the contact-related crimes decreased by 585, and 2.0% decrease. Property-related crimes, burglary and non-residential premises increased by 1,769. Burglary at residential premises decreased by 341. Theft of motor vehicle and motorcycle decreased by 674. Theft out of motor vehicle increased by 490. Stock theft decreased by 342, and overall total property-related crimes increased by 1.0. And of the 5 crimes that make up the property-related crimes, only burglary and non-residential and theft out of motor vehicle increased. The other 3 categories of crime, that is of burglary and residential, theft of motor vehicle and stock theft all decreased. Then on the other serious crimes, we have increases across all theft, not mentioned elsewhere, commercial crime, shoplifting, and then the total of the 17 community reported crimes increased by 4,002, and then the percentage change was 3.7 on the up. Crime detected as a result of police action, where the desirable direction of change is an increase. We had an increase in illegal possession of firearms and ammunition, another increase in drug-related crimes. We had a decrease in driving under the influence of alcohol, and sexual offenses also increased. Then when we give the graphical presentation of the 17 community reported crimes as a group by summary of the crime that we have just talked to, we noticed that we had increases across the month of January, February, and March. The increase in January was 7,959, in February 2,301, in March 3,752, and all the provinces recorded increases when compared to the previous quarter. The province with the highest contribution in terms of the 17 community reported crimes is the province of Gauteng with 27.2. Second highest is the Western Cape with 19.1, and the third highest is the KwaZulu-Natal province with 16.3.
My apologies, General. General, there's a lot of noise. We can hear you, but there's a lot of background noise. I know you are a team in the command center. Honorable Minister, we appreciate that you are a team. I'm not trying to be a school principal today, but as a school teacher, I'm asking the classroom to please lower the noise. We're struggling a little bit with the background noise, but we can hear you, General, so you can continue, General.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I shall crimes when we look at the month-on-month breakdown and go to the stations that contributed the highest in terms of the 17 community reported crimes. I will not go down to the 30, but I will just touch on the first 5 or so, depending on the time. We again ordered them in terms of the position. When you look at the whole country, that is the first column. In the second column is the provincial position of the particular station. And then at the last end is the percentage change that station had achieved in terms of the crime that had been reported. So what one can see at a glance is that all the top 3 stations are central stations. That is led by your Cape Town Central. Second is Durban Central, and number 3 is Johannesburg Central. And all these central police stations have recorded increases of 426, 349, and 210 respectively. Then moving on to the contact crimes, after having summarized the 17 community reported crimes, we go to the contact crimes where we look only at those crimes whereby the desired victim is a person. We see that we have the increases in the months of January, February, and March of 3,694, in February 190, in March 2,486, and all the provinces recorded increases across the contact crimes. Then the top 80 stations in terms of the contact crimes, number 1 is led by Johannesburg Central with an increase of 66 counts more. The second, third, and fourth are all in the Western Cape station. That is your Fulane at number 2, Nyanga at number 3, Mitchell's Plain at number 4, and the increases within those provinces, within the Western Cape for the 3 stations, is 152, 112, and 159 respectively, and then number 5 comes Tembisa, meaning the top 5 stations in terms of the contact crimes are shared between 2 provinces, that is your Gauteng and the Western Cape. Then looking at the respective sample sizes to try and determine what are the positive factors for these crimes, focusing specifically on the matters from a sample size of 6,068, we found that the highest positive factor that had been identified was argument, misunderstanding, road rage, or provocation, whereby it was indicated in 872 incidents as the positive factor for the matter. The second highest was the vigilantism of mob justice, which was attributable to 588. Robbery was 345. Retaliation was 289. And gang-related matters were attributable to 152. Tax-related 76. Then during the commission of other crime was 52, and hijacking and thefts resulted in 41 matters, and also rape resulted in 24 of the matters. The rest of the other categories can be seen from the slide. I will not go into the details of that. Then trying to determine what are the places where these noise crimes happen, we see that most of the crimes that's been attributable to have taken place at public places, that is your street, open field, recreational center, beach parking, and abandoned areas, whereby 2,991 of the matters was indicated to have taken place at such public places, followed closely by residents of the perpetrator or the victim, including residents known by the victim, perpetrator, or family members, which indicated that 1,697 of the matters had taken place in such facilities. As a transport, bus, or in a taxi, 298 liquor outlets contributed 227 matters, tuck shops and others 86. Then we also had a mining area 21, that is fifth or sixth from the bottom. Then we also had educational institutions which contributed 8 of the matters. Then looking at the crimes against women and children, on the left-hand side we have the women, and then on the right-hand side we have the children. We see that there were 71 matters more of women, that is those that are 18 years and over. We had 969, whereas in the previous quarter we had 898. Attempted matters, the increase was 263, and the assault GBH was 107. For crimes against children, we had a reduction in terms of the matter, that is 61 counts less. Attempted matters increased by 29, and then assault GBH increased by 6. The percentage changes of the respective was 19.9 for the matters, decrease, attempted matter 8.8 increase, and then assault GBH 0.3 decrease. Then looking at domestic violence as a proxy for GBV, we see that there were 250 matters whereby it was indicated that there was some kind of a domestic relationship between the victim and the perpetrator, whereby 125 of the victims were female and also 125 of the victims were male. And then when we look in terms of the provincial contribution, the province with the highest number of matters attributable to the domestic violence, we had KwaZulu-Natal with 67, then the second highest was the Western Cape with 46. Then moving on to rape, it was indicated that 843 rapes have taken place in a situation whereby there was some kind of a domestic relationship between the victim and the perpetrator, and 105 of the victims were female and 38 of the victims were male. This time around, it was Gauteng, which indicated that the highest number of rapes, that is 180, happened in a domestic setting situation. The second highest was KwaZulu-Natal with 168, and then the Western Cape at number 3 with 157. Then going into the details of the matter, we will see that we had recorded increases in terms of the month of January, and then a decrease in February, then another increase in the month of March of 144 in January, decrease of 13 in February, 75 in March, and 3 provinces recorded a decrease in terms of the matters when compared to the previous period. The highest decrease was recorded in the Western Cape with 143 when compared to the previous period. Free State was the second with the highest number of reduction, that is 22, and then the Northern Cape was the third with 10 less count of matters compared to the previous period. And in total, we had an increase of 206 of the matters. And looking at the matter per ratio, again using the 2021 population estimate studies, we see that the province of the Eastern Cape has the highest matter per capita of 16.7. KwaZulu-Natal was the second highest with 13.6. The Western Cape was the third highest with 11.9 per 100,000. Gauteng 9.5 per 100,000. Free State, Mpumalanga, they are in the region of 7 per 100,000. Northern Cape and the Northwest in the region of 6 per 100,000. And Limpopo with 4.2 per 100,000. Then when we look at the graphical representation of the matters, we see that the province of KwaZulu-Natal has the same number of 100,000 in terms of the matters that was recorded, that is 13.6 in the previous and also 13.6 in the current 100,000. And we see that on the table there, we indicate the total number of people within that particular province. That is the total population of Eastern Cape, for example, is 6,655,610. So we take this number and then we take the total number of matters that have been recorded in that province divided by the total population multiplied by 100,000 so that we can be in a position to compare per capita and not only on the raw numbers for these matters. Then when continuing with the matters, the top 30, we see that Umlazi was the highest in terms of the total number of matters that had been recorded in the province. And the second was Inanda. That is the first 2 stations in terms of the top 30 matter stations were both in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. However, both the stations recorded decreases of 35 and 11 respectively. The third highest was Delft in the Western Cape, which recorded an increase of 6. Then at number 4, we have Plessis Lion with a decrease of 4. Then Orange Farm in Gauteng with an increase of 12. Then looking at the positive factors, looking at the provincial breakdown, we have already indicated that most of the matters were attributable to argumented misunderstanding. This time around, we look at the provincial breakdown in terms of what was the province that indicated such a particular phenomenon to have been a positive factor for matter. For arguments and misunderstanding, it was indicated by KwaZulu-Natal as the highest contributor in terms of the matters of 226 of the matters attributable to arguments and misunderstanding. Gauteng province was the second highest with 153, the Western Cape with 150, and then the Eastern Cape with 126. Now looking at the vigilantism and mob justice, which was indicated as the second highest positive factor for matter, we had Gauteng with the highest of 164 matters attributable to mob justice. The second highest is KwaZulu-Natal with 122, and the third highest is the Eastern Cape with 130. Then looking at gang-related matters, we had 152 of the gang-related matters, of which 110 were attributable to the Western Cape province. The second highest was the Eastern Cape with 27. Then we had Gauteng with 11 and KZN with 3. The taxi-related matters was 76, of which 40 were attributable to the province of KwaZulu-Natal, 21 in Gauteng, and 10 in the Western Cape. The rest can be seen from that particular table. Then we had instances whereby we had multiple victims, and then in the past we used to previous, subsequent to this, have a table that indicates the total number of victims per incident. So we decided this time around to just focus only on the ones which resulted in more victims per incident. We had an incident in New Brighton where it resulted in 8 victims and 3 counts of attempted murder. This was a mass shooting whereby 8 people were killed and 3 were injured.
Apologies for disturbing and interrupting you, General. Honorable members, I'm taking a detailed presentation today and I'm not rushing the presentation. Do you accept that we get the detailed presentation today instead of me rushing SAPS? Because members did not have sufficient time to study the presentation. So I am allowing sufficient time. Members, do you agree with us that we rather take a detailed presentation now?
Chairperson is Khoza. I have
Recording
no
stopped.
objection to that.
Thank you, Honorable Khoza. So I can give SAP sufficient time to do the presentation. Honorable members, Honorable Khoza agrees that we give SAP sufficient time to do the presentation and not rush them.
Yeah, all in agreement, Chair.
Thank you. SAPS, you may continue. General, apologies for interrupting you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Then we had an incident in which resulted in 7 victims, whereby 4 men and 3 women between the ages of 32 and 46 were shot dead in a roundabout by unknown suspect. We also had 6 victims in the Diepkloof, and then in Ntomsasa, we had 5 victims in Alberton, and also 5 victims in New Brighton, which also resulted in 6 attempted murders. Then the weapons that are used to commit these murders, and again, we caution that we are not implying that there were 2,626 firearms that were used to commit these murders. All what we are saying is that the firearms were used in the commission of these murders, which resulted in 2,626 people being killed. Then the province which indicated the highest number of weapon used firearm was KwaZulu-Natal with 842. Then the second highest where firearms were used was the province of Gauteng with 727. Then Western Cape indicated 382, and then Eastern Cape 376. Lives were attributable to 919 murders, of which the highest was in
Recording
the
in
Cape,
progress.
of which 194 was in the Western Cape, and then we had Eastern Cape 202, and then KwaZulu-Natal 162. Then looking at the murders of the police officers, we had in the previous quarter 27 police officers were killed, whereas in the current quarter 24, that is a reduction of 3 counts of police murders less compared to the comparable period. Of the 24 that were killed, 19 were killed while they were off duty and 5 were killed while they were on duty. And then the reduction that we have observed was in the month of February and March of 4 and 1 respectively. Then attacks on rural communities, we indicated that in the current quarter, we had 8 murders in farms from 17, that is a reduction of 9. Sexual offenses, it was a reduction of 1. Then we also had a reduction in attempted murders of -4. Then assault GBH, reduction of 1. Common assault, the reduction of 3. Common robbery, an increase of 1. Robbery with aggravating circumstances, a reduction of 24. And the total contact crimes against people in the rural community decreased by 41, that is 33.9%. And all the other crimes that are affecting the rural communities have recorded decreases, with only rape that is stabilized, that is the same number as in the previous quarter, and Assen, the same number in the previous quarter, and the theft of motor vehicles, same numbers in the previous quarter. These numbers were also compared and contrasted with those that had been released by AfriForum. So some of the numbers were then revised based on that particular report that we obtained from AfriForum. Then in terms of the rapes, we had recorded a decrease of 306 rapes. The provinces that recorded the decreases was in the Eastern Cape, Free State, Gauteng, Mpumalanga, Northern Cape, and the Western Cape. The only provinces that recorded increases was KwaZulu-Natal, Limpopo, and the Northwest. The top 5 stations in terms of the rate, number 1 is Inanda, even though it recorded a decrease of 16 counts less. Thohoyandou was number 2 with an increase of 7, City, number 3 with a decrease of 27, Umlazi at number 4 with an increase of 13, Mthatha at number 5 with an increase of 18. And this is the provincial breakdown in terms of the per capita of the rapes, using the same analogy whereby we used the total population of the particular province vis-a-vis the total number of rapes that had been recorded in the province. Then we computed the per capita ratio for the provinces. Starting with the Eastern Cape, we had 24.1 per 100,000, Free State 23.5 per 100,000, then Northern Cape 19.4 per 100,000, Northwest 18.5 per 100,000, Limpopo we had 16.7 per 100,000, KwaZulu-Natal 18.2 per 100,000. Then the places of occurrence for the rapes, from a sample of 7,769, it was indicated that 4,768 of the rapes happened at the residences of the perpetrator, of which the bulk was reported in the province of KwaZulu-Natal with 1,048 rapes indicated to have taken place at the residence of the perpetrator. The second highest was the Eastern Cape with 791. The third highest was the Gauteng with 648, and then Western Cape with 680. 1,698 rapes have taken place in public places. Then we also had 84 rapes having taken place at educational institutions, and then we had 71 rapes that have taken place at liquor outlets, that is shopping, tavern, pub, etc. Then looking at instances whereby it was indicated that alcohol or drugs were used prior or during the commission of the crime, we had 217 murders having indicated that alcohol was involved, and 19 of the murders where drugs were involved. 1,237 of the rapes where alcohol was involved, and 100 where drugs were involved. 3,123 assault GBH where alcohol was involved, and 116 assault GBH where drugs were involved. Then at the confirmed place where alcohol is being sold, it was 227 of the murders had taken place at such facilities, 71 rapes at such facilities, 228 attempted murders, 2,604 assault GBH. Then the breakdown in terms of the rapes and the murders at educational premises, we had 7 of the murders having taken place at schools and 1 at the tertiary institution, 67 of the rapes at schools and 8 at tertiary institution. And again, we caution that these are just the places of occurrence where these rapes and the murders have taken place. It does not necessarily imply that the victims were learners, etc. It could be somebody who was passing at the gate of the school, who was then dragged into the school and then raped or murdered, or the school could be the dumping area. Then in terms of carjacking, we had decreases in Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, and Mpumalanga, and overall South Africa, we had a decrease of 283. Then the top stations in terms of carjacking are led by Nyanga, Harare, GP, Moroka, and Midrand, making up the top 5 stations. And of these 5, Harare in the Western Cape was the one that recorded a decrease of 21 in terms of carjacking. Then the robbery at the residential premises, we have decreases in the Free State, Northwest, and the Western Cape. Then overall in South Africa, we had an increase of 311. Then the top stations in terms of robbery at residential premises, the top 4 are in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, led by Blessings Lion, Eskikaleni, Nanda, and KwaDukuza. And 2 of the 4 have recorded decreases, and the number 5 was in the Gauteng, that is Tembisa, which also recorded a decrease of 15.9. Then robbery at non-residential premises, the 2 provinces that had recorded increases in terms of robbery at non-residential premises is the province of Limpopo with 38 and the Northern Cape with an increase of 10. The other 7 provinces all recorded decreases. Then the top stations in terms of robbery at non-residential premises are led by Pinetown, Durban Central, Johannesburg Central, East London, and Thohoyandou, making the top 5. And then of these 5, 3 of the stations recorded decreases, that is Durban Central, Johannesburg Central, and East London, of 4, 17, and 12 respectively. Then robberies of cash in transit, we had an increase of 11, and the provinces that recorded decreases was the Free State, KwaZulu-Natal, and the Western Cape, and the Northern Cape did not have any instances of robberies of cash in transit. Then looking at the methods that are used in terms of the cash in transit robberies, we had 3 of the robberies having taken place at the merchant rail, that is 2 in Gauteng and 1 in Limpopo. 25 of these cash in transit robberies were cross pavements, 9 in Gauteng, 5 in Limpopo, 4 in KwaZulu-Natal. Where the armored vehicle was on the road, we had 35 incidents, of which 16 of these were in the province of Gauteng, 10 was in the Eastern Cape, 4 in Mpumalanga. Then we had 1 incident of cash in transit where the vehicle was static, that was in KwaZulu-Natal. So there were multiple methods that were used, and then mostly the vehicle was also bombed. In the 17 of the incident, we collided and bumped and again bombed the armored vehicle. In 8 of the incident, the armored vehicle was blocked to bring it to a halt, and in 10 of the incident, the armored vehicle was shot at to bring it to a halt. However, in all the incidents where these methods were used, the armored vehicle was ultimately bombed. Then the types of robberies we have already indicated in terms of when the armored vehicle was on the road, at the merchant rail, etc. And this further gives the provincial breakdown of such robberies of cash in transit. Then truck hijacking, we had an increase in the Eastern Cape, and then the Northern Cape recorded the same number, that is 0. Then the 7 provinces recorded the decreases when it comes to truck hijacking. The top stations are mostly in Gauteng. Number 1 was Donaria, 2 Kempton Park, 3 Alberton, 4 Orange Farm, and number 5 we had some in the Eastern Cape. Then we also looked at the kidnapping and consecutive fractures, where we focused on where the ransom was demanded, where human trafficking or extortion. Ransom was demanded in 118 of the incident, of which the highest number was in the province of Gauteng, 71. The second highest was KwaZulu-Natal with 18. Where there were suspected human trafficking incidents, we had 15, of which Gauteng had 5, and KwaZulu-Natal and Mpumalanga had 3 each. Where extortion was demanded, there we had Gauteng with 4, and the Free State, the KZN, and the Western Cape with 2 each. Then ransom-related kidnappings, we had increases in the Eastern Cape, Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, Mpumalanga, and overall with this country we had 40. Then we also looked at the core diversion, whereby the resources of policing were diverted to go and police other incidents. We had 1,822 incidents which required the policing resources to police, and then 902 of the incidents which were deemed to be unrest, which also required the resources of the police to be diverted to go and police in those instances. And most of these peaceful and unrest were in the province of KwaZulu-Natal and the Gauteng, with 475 peaceful incidents in Gauteng and 155 unrests in Gauteng. KZN 395 peaceful, and KZN also had 156. Then this just gives a breakdown in terms of a comparison of the provinces with regard to the 17 community reported crimes. The first column after the name of the province indicates the total number of crimes that had increased within that particular province. And then the purple indicate the instances whereby the province recorded the same number of incidents as in the previous quarter. And the decrease shows that the province that decreased the number of crimes. And when you look at this, you can see that Gauteng had the most number of crime that had decreased, and they are indicated across the line there in terms of which specific crimes have increased. Total in Gauteng was 8, and then the other provinces, which is Free State, Mpumalanga, Western Cape, Eastern Cape, and Limpopo, all decreased at least 7 of the crimes of the 17. Northern Cape decreased 6, Northwest 4, and then KwaZulu-Natal decreased in terms of the 3 crimes. And that is the last of my slide. I thank you.
Thank you very much for that presentation, General. National Commissioner, is there anything you wish to add?
Good morning, Chairperson and members, Minister of Police, Deputy Minister, and colleagues. Honorable Chair, that is the picture of the quarter, and when there is a remarkable improvement from the previous quarter, and I think as we move forward, there is a better tomorrow than what we have now. We have changed our strategies from what we do and implementing new methods, and we think we are in the right direction. And hopefully, of course, the recruits that passed out in December last year, they were doing workplace exposure, which is mainly your CSC frontline at the police station. Now in June, they will be released to go on the ground, and we think that will assist us in improving or aiding more boots on the ground. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, National Commissioner. Deputy Minister, before I call the Minister.
No, Chair, I'm okay, thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. Honorable Minister, the closing remarks before I open the floor is for you before you get another round to answer questions. Minister?
No, thanks, Chair. I'll leave with what the National Commissioner presented by General Shukun for now, and we'll hear from the members. Thanks.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Indeed, Minister, as the National Commissioner has said, there's an improvement in certain areas. We'll take the hands from the members. Just quickly, Dr. Groenewald had to leave early. Honorable Whitfield has sent an apology. Honorable de Blanche has also sent an apology. And we, as I said, we will be doing the detailed analysis tomorrow. That will also give our researcher Nicolette an opportunity to do a thorough analysis of what we have received today. So, honorable members, I know that You have had an opportunity now to take questions. Could we leave all the detailed questions for tomorrow? And we do have time for one round of questions. Honorable members, you can raise your hands now. Honorable members, this is a round for clarity. If you need clarity, our honorable member, Machesi, and then Meshu, and then Majosi.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning to everyone. And also would like to appreciate the presentation that we've just received. Mine, I just want to find out, I see that I understand that it is a quarterly report. So, but then it goes back to 3 years back. And I just want to find out what is the reason for just, concentrating on the January up to, I think it's January up to March, even for the previous year. Wasn't there a possibility that we can actually, despite the fact it's for this quarter, then, have also a reference from the previous months so that we can compare? I'm mostly interested in the, sexual violence against women. I would have liked to see, the trend on that in terms of whether, there's been an increase, as we all know, or a decrease. I can see that there's, in terms of this quarter, there's been a decrease of some level, but it is not, comforting to see that women are still being, the ones who are being perpetrators in most of the violence that we're seeing. So I just want to find out what is the reason for, just getting just the statistics of 3 months, not going back to the previous months. And also particularly my concern is that usually in August we see a very high number of assault against women. I would have been interested to see, the trends based on that. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member, for that valuable input. Honorable Member, my apologies. I should have indicated to you that when we do the research analysis, we take into account the previous crime statistics that we have received. So I should have briefed you beforehand to say that when the research paper comes, and we have a very good researcher, Nicolette, she will have a more detailed analysis of the statistics, taking into account the historical perspective of the previous quarters. The rest of your question, I'm sure they can respond to. Do you accept that, Honorable Member?
Yes, I accept. Thank you, Chair.
My apologies, I should have mentioned this because you are a new member. Honorable Meshu, and then Honorable Majosi.
Thank you, Chairperson. I think we also appreciate the releasing of the stats to give us an idea of what's happening in the country. My major concern, Chairperson, has to do with the murder of children and also attempted murder of children. When one looks at any society where children are not safe, that would cause one to conclude that there is no safety in that society, because children are our most vulnerable members that should be protected by everybody. So I would want to know whether the police are trying to get to the root of the problem. Why are children targeted and not protected, as it should be expected? Whether the murder and attempted murder of children has anything to do with the increased Muti killings. Is there a link? Have the police tried to find whether there's a link between Muti killings and the killings of children? Because the numbers that are increasing are really, really worrying. So that's my question for today, sir. Chairperson, thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Meshu. Honorable Majosi.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Greetings to the honorable members, DM and the Minister, and SAPS. Mine would be, let us firstly maybe welcome the presentation by SAPS, and also to also welcome that there are at least a bit of decrease there and there, but still it leaves a concern when critical crimes, I will call them like that, that it's critical crimes that will or forever increase. So it leaves that concern that I think we should address in terms of then on the ground, what is it that we need? I think Honorable Mishwe raised a serious concern of killing of children, and maybe getting to the root cause of that problem. Then we need to find out, are the people buying parts? Are the people, because then if we find the source, then we are able to then minimize whatever that will be happening at that time. So I want us to get to that point to say, with these concerns that we have of murders and rape and GBV and so forth, when do we actually sit down and then find a strategy that will work for us? Because we can't have an increase all the time when it comes to murders, and so it's a concern, Chairperson, but I understand that tomorrow we'll be speaking more on other issues, so we'll engage more tomorrow in our full committee. But for now, I think we must then find a way on how do we make sure that crimes, because it does not happen with kids only. You go to hostels, people are killing each other. You go to townships, people are killing each other. So it's a problem that we are faced with, all of us. And it's a concern that I'm raising, that we must find a solution to it, because it can't be that we allow or we just continue living with the situation that we have at the moment. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, honorable members. That was the last hand that I saw. I'm now going to give an opportunity to NASCOM or to indicate who will be the team that will respond. National Commissioner.
Thanks, Honorable Chairperson. I think the first question you did answer it with regard to that we released the quarterly stats. The reason we want to compare apples to apples, same month this year and same month the previous years. And of course, we are now on this quarter. And the second question by Honorable Meshwe on the matter of children, yes, we take note of that, but we in terms of analysis, not all matters are related. Even though I don't have the specific stats, yes, there is a number of them that are related, but some of them are more children that are being killed either for rape and killed, or some being neglected. So, but I do not have the exact figures of the categories that I'm mentioning. But also, our FCS is one of the successful units in the country in terms of arrest and conviction with regard to crimes against women and children. So those cases, definitely, they all get attention at all times. If we acknowledge that there is a bit of decrease of murder of children, but however, the fact that it's 3-digit, we agree is too high and needs not to be there at all. Yeah, we will try our best in terms of course, awareness also for parents to take care of their children, because most of the time kids are left alone, and parents are going out we get either killed or burned in those houses. But we will get the detailed figures in terms of the areas of murder and attempted murder, we can say. And I think it also answers the question of honorable majority. Yes, we acknowledge crimes against women and children is a consent. It's in the same spirit that yes, we are doing our best with the FCS in terms of attending to those cases and making sure that they are resolved. Not sure what in terms. Thank you, Honorable Chair. Minister DM and National Commission. Regarding the question that was asked by Honorable Minister regarding the matter of children, although we do not have a comprehensive picture of the contributory factors of this matter of children, but what we can ascertain at this point in time is that 81 of these murders, of the 245 children that were murdered, they were murdered in a domestic violence situation. That could be instances whereby a boyfriend who's upset with the ex-girlfriend kills the girlfriend and then subsequently shoots and kills the child. So these 81 murders were in such instances whereby there was some kind of domestic relationship between the child and the victim. And then again, the domestic violence attempted murders contributed 88 of these attempted murders. So even though there might be some elements of related, but then again, there is also an element of family setting whereby these murders happen in a family with the setting. So one also need to make sure that we look into the construct of the family in terms of how the members resolve issues and then to not necessarily involve and take revenge on innocent things like children. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable National Commissioner, is that all? Because I have the responses now.
Thanks, that's all Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, National Commissioner. Honorable Minister, would you like to do the concluding remarks from your team?
Yes, let me hear from DM first through a commission.
Thank you, Honorable DM.
No, thanks, Chair. I think the Minister had made concluding remarks. Thanks very much.
Honorable Minister, the opportunity is yours.
Thanks, Chair. Chair, no matter how hard we try, if we have not managed to prevent the death of a single South Africans through criminal activity, we have not reached our destination. We will be working hard. I'm sure we will have a good engagement tomorrow of things that we are putting on the table, the efforts that we are working towards, and maybe looking even at the budget. What we can say, Chairperson, is that whatever little that is seen as happened, we regard it as a turning point of not going back again on the very dark days. We have not get out of the tunnel, but we can see a little bit of the light. We just hope it's not a train, oncoming train. It's already the light of getting out of the tunnel. We will be working hard because there is that opportunity. Murders should go down. Women must really not be killed, but not raped. Chair, I'm sure one of the most worrying things is the area of rape and abuse of women. We could see that 4,000, basically 1,000 on their houses, which means we really need to go beyond what the police and the justice system can go, the family setup, the other department. And we are trying, Chair, to work on the document that was passed by the cabinet last year of the integrated approach in fighting crime, inviting other departments to work with them on the matters. I think on the question of children, as raised by Honourable Nashwa, the General Skokun is trying to explain. You remember, Chair, that quite several kids, they die in the domestic system when the other mother, though is not in the last term, the mother probably had kids, 3 or 4 kids, and the father, who was stepfather, still came, flexed down, killed 5 kids. So the setup of domestic violence that does not spare the kids is one area that I think all of us would have to concentrate. But also the vulnerability of kids as kids is a normal thing for kids, that they go out and play and all that. We know what has just recently happened in Soweto, when those kids were killed, those boys. Again, there is an element of domestic issue because their aunt sell them out and all that. We were in Galeja last week, the same area, same issue was raised where the child just disappeared as playing and all that. The element of parents and the element of community, all of us looking after kids, is one thing that we'll have to talk about. Chair, closing up, we really want to work hard in bringing the communities as the buffer, bringing on the communities as one element of fighting criminality. Maybe that's why that little as it is, but we have tried to say to the CPFs, we will be helping you, we will be working with you with the little resources that we have, so that they really feel appreciated and they're taken on board, and they're strengthened and enforced and enhanced to help. Because we believe that if communities, starting from the families, the communities, and other institutions of the society, like education, as you could see, that there is violence against kids, as you see what is happening in social movement with that young lady, wanting to work with education, and in a very integrated way. We believe that if we work in a very integrated way, life could be better for the rest of South Africans in terms of their safety. Thank you very much, Chair. And surely we'll be available tomorrow to engage. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, Honorable Deputy Minister, National Commissioner, the team. Honorable Minister, I appreciate on behalf of the committee, we appreciate the presentation and appreciate that we receive the crime statistics. Honorable members, we will note that, as most of us said in the budget vote, and the Minister and Deputy Minister also said, that we have green shoots, and we have to have hope and be optimistic about those green shoots, because those green shoots indicate that there's progress in certain areas, even though it's not the miracle that we all expect. There's processes put in place, and those processes certainly have been stepped up. Honorable Minister, since the last crime statistics and the last budget speech, you have announced in your budget vote that there would be an allocation for community police forums or whatever community participation through the Civilian Secretariat. We welcome this and commit ourselves as the Portfolio Committee to work hand in glove with you to establish a stronger presence of community involvement in the fighting of crime at the local level, to the level that we can have every ward having a presence of crime fighters. there's a ward committee for each and every ward in our country. And it is our desire that in such ward committees, there are active members who we can be contacting directly and have direct contact with us when it comes to violence in the family, historical matters of abuse, so that we can be proactive in our response towards gender-based violence and femicide. Honorable team, Minister and your team, we thank you for the presentations and we appreciate the presentations. But tomorrow we'll have a more thorough and definite assessment. But the presentation today is certainly a positive presentation and we welcome that. We wish you and the team all the success for today when you announce these statistics, and please be assured that the support of the committee should not go unnoticed. Yes, we do have challenging times where as a committee we do our oversight work, and I know it is not always convenient when we raise those difficult questions. But we have to raise those difficult questions as a committee. And again, you will have that opportunity tomorrow. And we will be welcoming you tomorrow to continue this discussion. Honorable Minister, we will be welcoming your team tomorrow. And if possible, we'll also be looking to you if you have additional information that we require that you have not put in your presentation. Normally you send us an addendum. So if you have additional information that's not in the presentation, could you please send that to us as soon as possible? Honorable National. Sorry?
Thank you very much, Chair. That's it.
Thank you very much, honorable members. Minister, National Commissioner, Deputy Minister, the meeting is adjourned. Good luck with the further deliberations in the public today. Thank you very much.